Intensity of her eyes.
Now, there's a quote I would say during the years, or probably the 2 years since I met with Julius. Every journey has its ending, but yet he leaves a legacy to make sure that we carry on that journey. Julius has his way of bringing his journey to us. The first time I met him, I always thought, I was like, wait a minute, who is this kid? This kid's kind of little, he's a little awkward. I'm like, I didn't know who he was or what he did, so I was like, once I got used to him, I was like, hey, he's not that bad. I always love things about him. No, you know what? I'm not gonna say it, but he's been a fan of tokusatsu for God knows how long. He's been in love with the robots thing for before I even met him, and that's the beauty of the whole thing. He will tell you anything that he will love. 3 seconds flat. Just 3 seconds flat, he will tell you anything that you love. Like, as soon as I bring up Digimon, he would love it. But then he got some problems with it, but he would love it. The one time I tried to bring up Robotech, he was like, please, for the love of God, don't bring up Robotech. He always hated that Robotech. But he always loved Macross. So, I don't know. For some odd reason, I prayed that he would always just love what he did. And he did it. He went from the bottom to the ground up when he came to us, came to the gas. He wasn't just a member. He believed he was going to stand alone, but he was wrong. We was here, not just individuals, just like Julius. He was always an individual. But once he came around us, we were like a family to him. He was a family to us. I always consider him as my brother, a brother that I never had, and I hope I will. And he's a brother to us all. So, how can I say this? How can I say this like as easily as possible? Thanks, man. You've been a good member of the gas. You've been a good friend to me, a friend to us all. We will miss you. Hopefully you'll have fun up in heaven, dude. Hey, you wanted a party? You got a party. We'll be here if you need us, alright?
Alright, well, not only was Julius a good person, but he was a really good friend. One of the few people I called friends when I first came here, especially started going to gas. One of the few people who actually accepted mine and Harold's relationship when we first got together. I remember the times going to Magic Grove with him, just messing around. Just listening to the Palm song for the first time, which after that day got stuck in my head. I hate him for that, along with Nora, all her fault. And also, I'm trying to think. You can cut that stuff out, right?
I doubt it, but keep going. It's just keep it awkward. You might as well at this point.
I can't. There was something else stuck in my head. Oh yeah, that's right. When he gave me computer advice. Horrible, by the way. I should have known better. He did warn me. I asked him between a really nice Toshiba and an Android, which apparently was actually a tablet built into a laptop. Well, he did warn me, saying that he wasn't very good with computers, but yet I went with it anyway. He told me to get the Android, I got the Android, and it was a horrible computer. Thank you, Julius. Very horrible. But yeah, that's basically it. Like, I have very few memories. Most of my memories have been blocked out. I have very bad short-term memory. So yeah.
Julius, if you're listening, just know that I love you and that we miss you all. We all know that you're here with us, no matter what. May you rest in peace. Done.
The sun turned of unexpected events. No one knew that was coming, but these things happen. Didn't know you'd get too long, Julius. Maybe about a year or two, something like that. But you always had this aura, so to say, around him. Something as if like he always made people feel welcome in a sense. Pretty much befriended any person who ever went to the table at the school here, and he was always smiling. Sure, he always had his problems, you know, everyone does. Sure, he complained about them like everyone does, but you know, it was starting to look better. He changed his major, you know, things were looking better for him. I remember when we started talking about Vanguard, we talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! And naturally, he always listened whenever I had some random crap to complain about, or whenever I had some, tell him about a show or whatever, Naruto or Bleach, and even though he didn't like that stuff, he always listened anyway. He was a typical otaku/nerd like all of us. He was part of the family, you know, and he's gonna always remember the fact that he loved. Well, first he created Julius system, which I know you guys all enjoyed, and I enjoyed it too because it was one of the best D&D programs I ever enjoyed. But he loved Gurren Lagann, and you know, Roro Fight the Power. Julius, words really can't describe how much we're gonna miss you. But of course, you're always gonna be in our hearts, our souls. I just hope that, well, we get to meet again someday. I know you're up there. I hope, you know, smiling on as we miss you. Short and sudden, no one knew what was going to happen. We miss you. You'll always be here though. You never really left. Remember, your drill is inside us, the heart that beats the heavens.
I first met Julius back in high school, my junior year. Back then, I didn't really know him as much until I got to college. When I got to college, I started hanging out with him here in UCC. We talked about random stuff, and well, he had a lot of interesting things to say, which made me think that I should start looking at things from outside the box, and I really like that. That was one of his unique qualities that made him who he was. I really will miss him. He had a lot of things coming for him, and it's just sad to see it all disappear. But I know every one of us will keep him in our hearts. No. And Julius was also one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like, he gave everyone a chance regardless, and if you got to know him, he was actually like one of the coolest people you have ever met. It's just sad to see it all done, and he brightened up people's days, and I just hope that everyone will remember him for the good times and all that. We will miss you, Julius.
Okay, like my best moments with Julius really were just when we would sit in the cab and we would just start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or anything, talking about any kind of anime. Especially like if it was a new one that just came out, or a new cartoon. But when we played Yu-Gi-Oh! That was like some of the best times where we just have a conversation about basically anything. Or if like a new pack came out, he was like the first one ready to tell me if it had something he needed in it. It would be a lot. And then just playing was amazing. It would be me going up against an Elemental Hero deck, and he would always have some sort of joke against the deck I ran or insult the card I had. But it was always just something funny about it. It wasn't like he was trying to get at me. He just wanted me to laugh, and it just was something we all laugh about later. Like he would get on Grapha for not actually being a dragon, and he'd be like, "I'm gonna use that card against you," just to like get you about it. And like, even though I didn't like win, it was still just fun hanging and talking about it, and we would just end up playing again. Or when it was about anime, I always kind of looked at him kind of like as a hipster with anime, because he knew about something that I had never heard about, or he knew about it, or when I found out about it, he already knew, and then it would just be like more conversations coming with ridiculous memes or jokes about the anime. I think that's what I'm gonna really miss the most about him, and it's just not just gonna be the same without him being here. Without that.
Hi. Just trying to think of something to say right now. I'll admit I've known Julius for a while now. Not too well probably as some people, because I'm not super talkative or anything like that. But I think I remember the first time I met him, I just thought he was kind of weird. I don't know. I wasn't sure what to think of him. I just kind of was like, okay, he's one of the loud guys in the anime club that was at Union High School. And I just didn't really talk to him too much until a couple of years passed, and around, I guess, junior year mostly, right before he graduated. And yeah, I wasn't sure what to think of him, but he did introduce me to some shows and helped me a little bit, just talked a bit. And then when we all split off for college and everything like that, I hadn't talked to him too much because I didn't think we were like good friends or anything like that. But when I got back to UCC, because I decided to transfer out where I used to be, basically he was one of the first people to just say hi and just talk to me a little bit every day, even if I was being just quiet and ignoring, and I tend to still do that, and I don't know, I was happy about that a bit, because I didn't think that I was very talkative and that no one would really care that much, so I was happy that he at least took some time to say hi at least. And sometimes he would show me some shows, and I remember when he was really depressed and he just needed to talk sometimes. And I remember for a while that like me and my friend Julius would try and just go and annoy him and cheer him up sometimes. And one time we kind of walked in on a really awkward moment for him, but it turned out well. It was very weird. Yeah, so sometimes we would just annoy him while he was depressed, try and just get him to talk and whatnot. So I was hoping that he would, have a chance, because things were starting to really look up for him. And I don't know, it's still hard to believe that he's gone. And yeah, I'll admit, I still can't really believe it that easily, but that's just how it is, I guess. I just want to say thank you for all the just talking with me and whatnot, and thank you for recording this too.
I remember back in high school when I first joined our club. You were so loud and weird and crazy. And then somehow after all that, we just became friends. I found more friends through you. Even now I still think about the way you would laugh, your most beloved topics, how you would answer me whenever I asked for a favor. I really don't know how I'm supposed to feel right now or what I'm supposed to say, but I do know that I'm really going to miss you.
Okay, Julius, he was a really cool guy. I think one of the best traits that I remember from him was that I would just come up with this random thing that would just come to mind that I just wanted to discuss, but I may have not felt like it was important to bring up to somebody. And I would just talk to Julius, and he would have like we'd have this whole detailed discussion about it. He'd give me the entire rundown, and it felt like I can just get into like a good philosophical conversation, and that what I had to say was actually important. And I think that was a really cool thing about him, because I like to talk about just anything. One of the most awesome things I ever heard him say, and I think it was, he said this to me on the last day I actually saw him. So we got into this Star Wars discussion, and I started to mention, I said Star Wars, I mistakenly said Star Wars the Stone Wars, and I'm like, oh wait, I mean Clone Wars. And he said, wait, I'm just letting you know, Han Solo cast the first stone. And I think that was just gold. And yeah, and I think that was the last thing this thing he said the last time I saw him, and I think that was just really cool. So he was a great person to talk to, and it's really a shame that this had to happen. All right.
I'm Tsunami. Real name Christina, I guess. Julius, I know we didn't know each other for very long, really. I met you maybe 2 years ago, and that's when you brought me to gas, and honestly, I have to say, my life has been really good since then. Really good kid, really. I'm gonna miss you big time, man. I wanted to pilot a Gundam with you. I was hoping to get to do that someday, but I guess I'll have to go it alone and do it for you. Really, I wish I got to know you better. Truly, really. My heart goes out to Julius's family. Really, I'm sorry. Truly, I am. It's sad that he had to go in such a way, but, we all love him. I love him, and I know he loved us all too, so we'll just live on and keep him close. So, Julius, I love you. Truly, really, I do. So, I'll see you on the other side, alright?
Julius was someone who, once you met him, you would be his friend for life. He was already your friend for life. He was someone who always looked out for anyone, whether you were actual family or even someone that he just met. He always looked out for everyone. I remember with Anime Next this past year, because of my hearing loss, he made sure I had a key to the hotel room in case I needed to go there for, in regards to my hearing device. I am really going to miss him. He was one of a kind.
Just take your time.
Hey everyone, it's me. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about Julius now. When I first found out about what happened, I just couldn't believe it. That one of my friends, who was more of a brother to me than a friend, just what happened to him, it was insanity. I just couldn't believe it. But try to think all the good things that we had. You would need something a lot bigger than that camera there to record all the good things that he gave this world. He gave people ears to listen to their problems and a mouth to make hilarious comments or a reference to just about any anime or Japanese RPG you can think of. Honestly, you'd look through him and maybe you'd find some kind of receipt for a human encyclopedia. I think I first met him in our anime club at school. We would talk about stuff. We would just nerd out in my house. I can't tell you the amount of times he's been over. He was always someone that, even if he was not able to do it, he would still go out of his way to help you. I think back to a time that my car ran out of gas just outside of the school. And even though he had to go out of his way to pick up his sister, he still went to go get me. A lot of people probably wouldn't have. If they had something else to do, they would tell me, I got my hands tied. Not Julius. He was someone who just genuinely knew that he wanted to help you. A lot of you probably didn't know him as long. A lot of you probably met him for the first time this semester. But he was someone that, even if for just a second you had the privilege of even talking with him, he made an impact in your life. God only knows that kid could play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like you wouldn't even believe. He was even helping me get back into it before things changed. But I try to think that if he had the option, he would tell us now to stop feeling bad for him. He would tell us to keep enjoying what we still have. He would tell us to pull together. He would tell us to keep coming to gas. He would also tell us to stop bringing up Kingdom Hearts, because he just did not love that game. Oh, God, he hated that game. But, honestly, we've all lost a brother. We've all lost someone who this world could never possibly replace. It just couldn't be done. You don't have enough mad scientists in the world to put something like him together. Not again. So, when I think of what to do now, I think back to his favorite catchphrase, and it all becomes clear. Screw the rules, I have money. I'm fairly certain to him that applied to just about everything. So, to all of you who are watching this, wherever it may be, whether it's at the gas meeting or in the future, maybe on a laptop, maybe off some website, think of not the pain, but of the fun you had with him. And that we're all going to pull together. And we're all going to be okay. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but we will. We will be okay.
Hi, I don't know who's going to be watching this, but most of the people who probably will be watching this know me as Balrog, aka Mikey, Michael, whatever. I have very many names, but Balrog is the name that Julius called me for the longest time. Everybody said I looked like Balrog, which I still refuse to believe, but I have to accept the name. I met Julius in the corner back when it was the corner, not the game area at the cafeteria at UCC, Union County College in Jersey. And I didn't really know anybody that much. I knew a few people. I talked to a few people, and we got along well because he was a huge fan of mecha anime. I'm a pretty big fan, but not as big as he was. I mean, he had seen a lot of anime in general, but mecha anime was his thing. We used to have long, drawn-out conversations about Evangelion. We talk about it forever. That was like one of my favorite anime series, and the ending to this day still has traumatized me, and he loves the fact that it still bothers me so much. Will love the fact that it still bothers me so much. And he used to make a lot of jokes and play around and play some Magic. He taught me a lot about Magic and card games in general. He was gonna teach me about Power Rangers, the Power Rangers card game, which people didn't know existed. I didn't know existed until he told me, which surprised me to say the least. I don't know. We had a lot of good times. There's the corner, no longer the corner. Now it's just an area by the vending machines. And I mean, some of the new people don't know Julius like a lot of the older people and a lot of people who went to high school with him. I mean, I didn't go to high school with him, but we had a chance to get to know each other on a few car rides that I've been in the car with him. And the last time I was in the car with him, we went to he was dropping me off here after we had went mini golfing for my friend's birthday, and it was mini golfing, was having fun and stuff like that, and we had a lot of conversation, and he drove me home, and we had some good conversation on the way home, and he was a little depressed at the time, but thankfully me and Brendan and a few of our mutual friends were able to pull him out of his funk and get him back to his happiness. Then I had to go off to school and Culinary Institute, and when I came back I saw he cut his hair. And I freaked out a little bit because I was used to Julius with long hair, but we talked for a little bit and stuff like that. I was happy to see that he was VP, wasn't he? Yeah, I was happy to see that he was VP of gas. I mean, who better than the bevy of knowledge when it comes to anime that is Julius. I mean, he knew so much. If I ever wanted to know a deep, dark anime that I just wanted to watch just because, I'd call him up or send him a message, hey Julius, what do you suggest? And he'd give me all kinds of suggestions and such. Yeah, I mean, we had a good time. We had a lot of good times, and maybe he's not physically here with us right now, but he's always gonna be with us. We're always gonna remember him and all the good times we had. I'm glad I went and paid my respects to his family. I'm glad I saw all my friends, and I'm glad I did get to see him in a happy setting the last time I saw him when I went to gas. I'm glad I did get to see him, and he was happy, and we were all laughing and stuff like that. I mean, at the same time, if this is going to be watched by gas, I want you gas people to know and listen to the new vice president and the president and everybody that's in the cabinet for the club, and stop yelling so much, because that pissed Julius off to no end. And he wouldn't tell you this because Julius is a sweet person and stuff like that, but it pissed him off. So if we could just tone down the yelling, he'd love that. That's a message to the gas people there. I just, Julius, you're a great friend. I love you, man. And this is Balrog signing out.
Hi, Nee. I really miss you, and I was really upset when I heard what happened on Sunday, and I was really upset from Monday to Sunday. And I got a new piercing in my ear, up here, but your birthstone, because I've always wanted to do it, but I never found an actual reason to do it, so this gave me a reason to do it. Some fun memories that I had with you were here in the park. That's why I'm out here on the swing. Because I remember one time we were out here and you were really tired, but you pushed me and Nora on the swing anyway. And you were like, I'm gonna give you guys pushes. And then we talked about the Pomp song. That was a good time. Another good time I remember was when we were over there for a gas meeting outside, and you guys were picking up the little spiky ball things, and one of them had a really big tick on it. Poor Jackie. But yeah, you and John picking them up and be like, yeah, we're gonna put them in the eggs. And then we had to look for them, and half of them had like ticks in it. I feel bad for the people who had ticks, but it was really funny. You helped me through a really hard time, and I'm really grateful that you helped me through my parents' divorce, because it's hard having problems, and I know other people
have problems too, like mine, and I'm glad that you were understood, and in your own special way, you kind of broke through my trust issue barrier and said, "Come on, it's not so bad out there. You can trust us." And I did, and you were super relaxed, and you made sure I was okay, and we had each other's back like brother and sister. And it's not gonna steal your hentai collection, as much as I wanted half of it. But I'm not going to steal it. And I wanted you to know that before this accident, I was going to show you the Dan Green autograph signing I was going to get for my manga. And I was really super excited to show you, and you first, because I know how much you like Yu-Gi-Oh! And white shorts, and yeah, I miss you, and I love you, Nii-chan, and I hope you're in a better place now, and may your drill pierce the heavens, and may you pilot that awesome Gundam you always wanted!